Okay, so here we go with UK3 in the 1v1 game. Just to do a quick recap of Germany's turn, they bought 10 infantry, 3 artillery, pretty straightforward. Mass the ground at this point. Just a reminder, he's got 4 fighters, 1 bomber is what he's got going. He's got 2 fighters down here in Italy, which is going to help me in some ways and hinder me in other ways. So his combats, he attacked France and Belarus. He took those without any losses, unfortunately. So he did have a clean kill of those guys, and otherwise moved around, as you can see. So it was very tempting. We actually have a 1-2 shot of UK with 2 transports, 2, 3, 4 fighters, and the cruiser, followed by the Russians hitting Germany. And it was profitable. I forget what exactly it was. It was definitely in our odds. I think it was like 70% on our odds and maybe like a plus 15 profitable overall. But there is obviously some inherent risk in that. It's a big battle. It's a large battle. And do we really need to take that? As allies, this is after Germany's turn. They've got a 6 IPC advantage, but we've got both the UK spending 30 and 71 versus their 38. So, it's 33 bonus that we're spending, equal to like 11 attack power. So that put me back up at 69. So we're, and I think I showed it last time, we're at an advantage of attack power as allies already, which is significant, especially if we can keep his income, down in the 70s or low 80s for a while. We're doing pretty good. So, and I don't think he's going to make much advance, on India. He'll get a few of these guys. We're going to stop him at Kaza, though. So, his income's going to increase a little bit. We're going to take that one away. And hopefully we start eating away. We're going to take away these guys. So I feel pretty good about our position without risking the battle. So if we were more even, I might take that battle. But I feel like we're ahead in this game, and that's why he's doing it, to be honest, is he probably feels like he's a little bit behind, so he needs to put a risk out there, and he needs those production spots and that money. So I think it's a smart move, because he's probably calculating that I probably won't attack that, because it's not, I'm not in the position that I need to attack that. So that's where we're at. And then, of course, we're battling away down here in the kind of fairly traditional at this point. He's up to 4 transports, counting that guy, so he is back up to 4 transports now. But he had to consolidate up there, which means nothing was dropped here, which means he's only got the artillery, plus he'd have to use these 3 transports, come all the way down to 36 attack here. It does mean we can't really stack here, even if we moved all 8 of these guys in without any losses. He would have the 3 fighters here, the bomber, this fighter, plus a battleship and a cruiser. So he would have a lot hitting in 36. So it's dead zone. I didn't do the math, but it's dead zone. We're just going to say it. So we're not going to try and stack that. We do have, looking at this, we have Atlantic with 2 transports. We got a 3rd transport coming up. I like my Atlantic with 3 transports. I thought about building a 4th transport, just because we're going to have we are trying to attack and just really diminish and trade off Germany as quickly as we can. Traditionally, I play with 3 transports, so I can buy extra fighters and bombers. So I thought about building a 4th transport, but I think I am going to wait a turn. But this is one of the games I think I will get to the 4th transport, simply because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 carriers living that we're going to be floating around here, and I think we can be very aggressive attacking Germany in general, as a general rule here. So that's what we're going to do. You're going to see I'm going to spread my fleets out kind of thin, where he's going to have advantages on some of my fleets. But I'm okay with that. I don't mind, to put it simply. That if he's got advantage, then so be it. I'll take some fleet losses if we diminish his. He's only got 5 planes, so he's got to be very careful. Meanwhile, I plan on taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 border ones, maybe even 6. We haven't decided if I'm going to kill him and blitz a tank. You know, we're gonna have at least 5, if not 6 territories going to trade. We're also gonna have these guys, which a lot of times they won't trade, but maybe he'll want to try to trade Finland too. So we're gonna have a lot of borderlands up here that he's gonna want to trade, and he can't use his air force to attack the fleet if he's gonna be trading all these territories. So that's what we're going to use. That's why we're going to give him slight advantages on the fleet in 8, slight advantages in the fleet in 3, slight advantages in the fleet in 15. You know, he's going to have options if he wants to go for them, but I don't think he will. So we're looking at building 5 infantry, artillery, a tank, and we're going to build a bomber. I thought about building fighters just because I love my UK fighters. If you watch me play much, just KGF, KJF, it doesn't really matter. I like UK fighters because they had the flexibility of helping trade, stacking West Russia, and getting down to India, you know, all in 1 or 2 turns kind of thing. You know, especially when I get the fighters here. They can be used to trade here, or they can come all the way down to Kaza or West Russia or Russia. So I'm a big fan of UK fighters in general. However, we've got 5 fighters, 2 carriers, so we can fill the carriers up already. I don't think we need to be pressed. A bomber, which we had to sacrifice over here to kill those transports, but a bomber will help with our UK trades in general, let us buy infantry rather than artillery as the rounds go on. So we're going to go with the bomber. And similarly, like we said before, we could have attacked here with the sub and try to see if we could knock out something and then do the 2 sub attack. But again, I'm going into conservative mode. Maybe this may come back to haunt me. You know, maybe I shouldn't be going quite so conservative. I don't like anything that you can attack. What did I build? Oops. We got 7 ground coming, 3 down here, 4 coming up here. So for these 2 transports, he's going to have his 2. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab 2 of them. One, 2, 3, 4. So we can use our cruiser too. So we're going to leave cruiser destroyer coming up with a battleship destroyer up here, and we can use a U.S. transport from here, to take Northwest Europe, and we'll take these 2. So we'll have 1 UK and 1 US transport here. We're going to have 1 UK, 1 US transport up here. We're going to have 3. We're going to have a carrier with 2 fighters. He's got a bomber and 2 fighters if he builds a battleship, or carrier, which would be costly and kind of a pointless. So I don't think he'll do it. So that's the options we're going to give him. We're going to move this fleet on into Season 15 where he has 5 units that can attack my 4, but I'm only going to put probably only 1 transport going in. So is it worth it? I guess we'll see what he thinks about that. We're going to let the U.S. take that guy because we got a tank and 2 infantry that can go there, and then a transport that can take Southeast Europe. I think that might be all of our attacks there. Got nothing else rolling on here. I have not looked. One of the things I'll have to pause for a second is I want to make sure we keep this territory dead zoned, but at the same time I want to pull guys back, getting ready to come back up into the Kaza stack. So I like to just keep this dead zoned and then leak guys back this way. These guys are going to be heading that direction, and we're just going to keep that Kaza stack and let UK do most of the work there, hopefully. I love getting some UK tanks there because then they can end up in Venkai, which a lot of times people aren't paying attention to, and all sorts of things they can do. All right, yep, I think that's all of our attacks with UK. Oof. 4 big whiffs, come on. The cruiser hit of all things. Good gracious. Cruisers never hit. All right, good deal. For those that watch me, you know I don't like cruisers. Nice. Nice. Good deal. I'll take that. I kind of do want to leave one more fighter here. I feel a little more comfortable with that. These guys, like I said, we're just gonna pull on back. So we're gonna be putting a tank in there. Let's see, 2 infantry, we have their bomber. I'm probably gonna put an infantry and artillery down here. So tank, infantry, artillery. So that's what we're gonna use: tank, infantry, artillery, plus the 1 fighter here, 2 fighters here for dead zoning. We gotta consider he could bring 1 and 6 units, so we gotta consider 7 units there. So if we've got 6 ground plus our 3 airplanes, I'll feel more than comfortable with that. We've got 3, 4 ground coming, so I feel like I want to leave 2 ground here. So maybe that. Maybe I'll leave an artillery and put an infantry instead. I'm going to double check it and make sure that that is what I like before I finalize this. 2 subs here. Again, he has no destroyer, so my subs can kind of move where they want to. I like this because I can still hit 36 if these guys come back. I have my 2 fighters that can be there, so he's got to be a little bit mindful of that. Plus, he's got to be mindful of these guys and my sub here. I think he's just going to consolidate back in 61, to be perfectly honest, but he can't really build in these C zones as long as I'm kind of hanging around with my subs. So it's going to be tough for him to get a fifth transport going. He could bring these guys here and these guys down, and then bring the battleship and a destroyer and some guys in there, and that he could build that way. But again, that's going to really dampen his push at Moscow at all, and we're already forcing things in there. Let's see, we're going to move the carrier and the fighters on up there. We're going to move transport up here to grab those guys. Cruiser destroyer there. Oh, carrier going to come on up this way as well, so he can pick up into these defenses next turn. And I hope, again, by really messing with his transport system, I hope it's going to be a long time until he ever gets down here to Australia or New Zealand. Each one of these is, that's 6 IPC a turn, 3 for me, 3 away from him. If we, every turn that we delay from him getting down here. So as he starts to move this way, we'll bring our transports. We're going to bring our bomber. We'll have our fighters coming over. So we're going to make it as hard as we can for him to take these sides over here. All right. So yeah, I think I feel good about this. It'll be 3 infantry, an artillery, 2 tanks, plus 3 fighters that can hit Burma. He can move an artillery and 6 of these guys, so 7 units in there is what you could put in there. I feel good about that. So yeah. And just looking back up here, he's got 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 units that can attack. So we've got an AA, we've got 8, 12, 16, 22 units that we're putting in there. So we're good. Russia can defend all by themselves, and we're not even counting what we're doing with these U.S. units yet, so we're good in that regards. Of course, I expect him to move some of these guys forward, so he'll be putting a little bit of pressure, more pressure on Kaza, but that's why we got our UK infantry, UK ground coming back this way, so we can support this with UK this turn, these guys next turn, excuse me, these guys can go in there on UK4. These guys will be able to go there on UK5. So we're not going to have to invest too much Russian help. Russians can keep focusing on this West Russia stack. So that's the plan. I'm sticking to it. Real quick, double check anything we're missing. I'm too good at blundering these days. I think we're good. So, like I said, we're going to put a tank, an artillery, and an infantry. We're going to put 4 infantry up there for my 1-2 transports. He's got the other transport. And then we got bombers and fighters to help with trading aspects. There we go. I do need to make sure. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Go back. I want to make sure my defense profile is set for normal defense because I don't want fighters before carrier. If he was to attack with all 3, I want it to be fighters last to save my 2 transports and make him have to really fight through there and then land his fighters on a carrier type of thing. I don't expect him to do that, but I also want the subs on submerge. So we should be normal submerge. That's perfect. All right, there we go.